And I got this set to 3.94, and it's not really going in. Right down in here, the inside the cylinder, it's alright. This one, it's alright. It won't even go in this one. So this is a 40 over setting here. And right about where the piston rings goes, there's some holes and stuff in it, but the rings will be down in here about 3/8 of an inch. So the best I can tell, I've got pretty good metal where the rings quit. Now I took a wire brush and tried to clean that out. Didn't really have a lot of luck, but I can see my things going in here 40 thousandths over. Let me check that and make sure that's what that is. Yeah, so 3.95 would be 40 over, and it's not really going here. In some of these holes it'll clear, but it's sticking, you know, an inch down into the bore. So this could probably be honed out to 40. I wouldn't get rid of a lot of this stuff. And this one, 40 thousandths, not going in there at all, anywhere, even in the holes. So this is 30, so I don't have, it's kind of hard to tell. I don't really have 10 thousandths, even with all this rough stuff in here, to fit. And of course 40 won't go in a good cylinder at all. So it looks like I could put a 40 thousandths piston in this one. It would take quite a bit of honing by hand to get that thing down in there, and I doubt if I'd ever get it straight. Well, I could, but it would take a lot of work. So I think I'm gonna just hone this out best I can. I may get a set of rings that are for 40 thousandths piston and gap them. But I think it's worth it to, since I know it's already 30 thousandths, 10 thousandths is probably not going to clean up this bore, and I think 40 is probably the maximum that you could go. So I'm not going to spend the money to get this block bored and then go to the trouble of buying new pistons for it. I'll try to clean this one up and measure it after it's clean. This one here, I think I can clean it good enough. The other bad one over here, this one here, it was all the way up, so it's going to have a little bit right in the top, but the rest of the bore is good. I haven't measured it, but let's see. Yeah, see, it's nowhere near that's going to take 40. And it just happens to be that if I turn this all the way down, that's a 30, just under 30 thousandths. So that bore's 30, this is 30, that one's 30, and that one's 30. So looked like they put a 30 thousandths over bore set of pistons in it. I can probably clean them all up and hone this one, and I might be able to get away with a oversized set of rings there. And I don't know, but it'll be a not so good motor, but I'm not going to have to put a lot of money in it other than the gaskets and stuff. And I don't know about that piston over there. I think it'll probably clean up. Well, we'll just see if I break anything getting these other bad ones out of here. Get it apart. I got some of these rods out, but the crank just wouldn't turn over, so I loosened up all the main bearings, and they all had kind of rusty looking stuff in it. I just need to move this just a little so I can get that rod there. Oh, I pressed on it a while ago and the crankshaft did move a little, so I'll get back on this with with both hands. But loosening up the main bearings has finally enabled me to move the crank a little bit. And pulling on this thing, turns out that these rods won't come out because they're hitting the block down in the bottom. That's true in all cases, except where it's like here on bottom dead center and probably top dead center. So it's not turning. I can put something here on the crank and I can move it, but it's only about 1/8 of an inch each way, and what's happening is the crankshaft just actually coming up out of the block. So far all I've got out was 2 pistons. I've got 2 more kind of hanging out here, and I got a couple on the other side, probably in the same condition. Yeah, this one here is loose and that one's loose, but I have to turn the crankshaft to get it to bottom dead center, and I'm trying not to hammer on it and put a mark in the crank. Look like this one's past time. Well, anyway, the bearings were 10 under, and I found something very interesting here. This is a turn it where it's right side up for you. This is a stock number. I can't read it. 103.5 something or other. Rebuilt engine power pack. And I did a little looking on the internet, and apparently this was a company that rebuilt these engines for dealers. And so if they blew up their motor, then they just throw one of these rebuilt engines in it. And this one's been bored 30 over. It's got 10 thousandths undersize bearings in it, and that's probably why it looks so good. Not sure what the history of this motor was or anything else, but looking at it, it wasn't ran too long. And but that water destroyed at least 1 cylinder really bad, 2 fairly bad, and the other one might be salvageable. It's already been bored 30 thousandths over, so I can't do anything about that. Only thing I can do now is just clean it up and see how much I messed up any of the bearings and stuff. I think bearings are fairly cheap. I probably ought to just get another set and put in it and buff out that crank best I can. Most likely the camshaft and everything is still good in it. I don't know. I'll see what happens when I get it apart. But I've I've broke it down to this point, and I was going to get that cam chain off of there so I can rotate the crank, but I have to get a harmonic Pulitzer or harmonic balancer puller. I got one at home, so I'll get that, and then I can get this timing chain cover and timing chain and everything out, and then I can rotate the crankshaft and finish pulling those pistons. I've got a hell of a mess here, and I'm not getting the paint on my MX. This thing is kind of suffering in one of my 3 to 4 inch micrometers. I still gotta finish priming this, but I kind of wanted to see what this motor was going to do. It looks like I can probably salvage the valves in there. I think I've got a big hone that's you lock, and it'll make a round bore. So I'm gonna try to use it. If I have to buy another one, I will. But I'm just gonna hone out those 3 bad cylinders. Well, I'll break them all. You know, just glaze, break them. The rings, I got the rings off of one piston. Had to get the rings off to get the piston back up in there, because it came out past the rings. So I don't know if I'll reuse these rings or just buy another set of rings. I guess if I'm down this far, you know, what's another 40, 50 bucks for rings? But I was hoping that I'd have a, you know, maybe do a valve job on this motor, but it don't look like that's the way it's going to go. I'm going to have to pretty much rebuild the whole thing, and it's not going to be right. It can only be bored over 40 thousandths, and I doubt if 10 thousandths is going to clean up those bad cylinders. And I don't want to spend the money and get it bored and then find out that I can't do anything with the block anyway. So at this point, it's hopefully a last rebuild on this motor, and hopefully it'll run halfway good. We'll see. Well, after a few hours work, this is where it's at. I noticed on my videos I say well every time I start one, but here's what the bore looks like. Now, this is after I probably worked on it 20 minutes. This is the really bad one here. It's rusted all the way down into the bottom of the bore. This motor was bored 20 over or 30 over, and I measured it with a bore gauge, and it looks like from inside of the hole to the inside of the hole is like 60 over. I haven't really tried this one yet, but it's probably about the same. I doubt if this block will bore 60. So I've got a pretty good hone there, and I can tighten it down and really put a lot of pressure in it. I've taken a lot of this out right now, so I'm gonna just work on this cylinder a little while, and we'll give you an idea how much it's cleaning out. Now this is after about 5 minutes honing. I'm starting to get a lot of it out. me check the dimension of it here. Go down into the hole. See if I can open this thing up a little. There's two. So this says 15, so 50 plus 15, I'm about 396, and that is I'm about 50 thousandths over inside the holes. I'm going to try it a little more and see if I can't get the rest of these marks out, but it is starting to clean up pretty good. I don't know, 60 thousandths is not going to change much because that's from hole to hole in here. Anyway, I'll hone it a little more and see what it looks like. I got it down to about 35 thousandths down in the bottom of that bore. It was already bored at 30, so I took 5 out of the bottom, and up here at the top it's around 40 thousandths over, and in the grooves there, in the rust holes, is probably another 10 to 20, so it's like 60 thousandths over in those holes, and as a general rule it's about 35 thousandths for the bore. So my plan is to put a 40 thousandths ring on it and just see if it'll, I think there's enough meat here to start and run. The oil ring probably clear most of the stuff, so it probably won't burn oil too bad. And now I'm going to go to this one, and this one is really chewed up. I probably should have started on it first, but thought if it was possible to salvage that one, maybe I'll go to this one. So it looks like I've cleaned it up enough to probably run. I've only got a couple $100 worth of gaskets and stuff that's going to go into it, so gaskets and rings, I think set of rings was only 50-60 bucks. So I'll try to chew on this one a while and see what happens. Yeah, it's about 5 minutes, 10 minutes with it honed. I've got it pretty much good. I mic'd these that hole down in there. It's 60 over, but it's halfway down, almost to the bottom of the power stroke. The same all the way around here. And it's kind of spotty up here towards the top. Pretty much the same all the way around. I'll never be able to hone that out, so it's kind of useless trying. I've got it as about as good as I can get this. and I'm over maybe 5 thousandths over the standard bore of 30, and that's the same here. So I'm going to just chance it. I could spend all day honing it, get it to 60 thousandths, and then the pistons would just rattle like crazy in it, because I'm not going to buy 60 thousandths over pistons. These cylinders are good. I've got one more here somewhere that was this one, but compared to those others, this one will clean up. This one will clean up really good. These just got a little dirt and glaze in them. So I'll just run home through them all real quick. These two here could use a little cleanup, but it was those two pistons in that front one that were bad. And worst that'll happen is it'll be a 6-cylinder motor that burns oil, but I think that the rings will mostly seal in there. I'll probably get about 60 to 80% of the power. Turned out the cam, I thought it might be froze up, but it turns real easy with your fingers. It was just the main bearings was froze, and it was all froze up. I don't know what, if I messed up my crankshaft there, kind of pounding and beating and prying on it. Hope not. I'll examine it. But and these rods really weren't marked in any particular order. I tried to keep them the same as they came out of the motor. I might have got a couple mixed up, but I'll go through and match my caps and everything best I can and put them back in here. These lifters set so long they might rattle like hell. I think might as well, if they're not too expensive, just buy another set of lifters. Some of them fell out, so I'm not going to get them back in the same holes anyway. Anyway, I'll just finish honing on these cylinders, and I'll call it good on this. It's not good, but it's the best as I'm going to get it. And there she blows. Cleaned all the cylinders up. Pretty good glaze breaking on them. This one I didn't really spend a lot of time on. I just cleaned it. Same thing with these. Most of that's down below the power rings. It's up at the top, so once it piston moves a half an inch, it'll be all right. So block is clean. That's two bad cylinders. It might be able to be bored 60 over, I don't know. They say that depends on the year of the motor, that they have some of the cores are thin. But I'm not going to worry about it. I'm sure this is good enough to start and run. I'll clean this up best I can, try to blow it out with cleaner and air to get up all the air passages, put new gaskets, call it good for this one. Oh, it looks like camera's got a big black spot in it. Don't know what that's from. Let me see if I can fix that. Turned out it was part of the camera case. I got the thing out of it, but I think I scratched the lens. Anyway, I've got this all broke down. I put the pistons where they were marked as much as I could. I think I only had like 3 pistons or something like that were marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I first put the pistons in like they came out, best I could, but when I altered these around, I've got a good piston here for one of these chewed up cylinders. Here's the original one that come out of that chewed up cylinder, and this was a frozen one. But anyway, I've got these pistons in here as close as I can to where I think they should go. The crank freed up real good. I can turn it easily. And now I just need to do a lot of cleaning and this and that and the other thing.